If you ask any professional how to become as good as them at their craft, they'll probably say a few things. Most likely things like luck, natural talent, or persistence will be mentioned, depending on who you ask. But I think that even the people at the top know that you can't really force luck or natural talent to happen. So as a non-gifted, you're really only left with a few surefire plans. Persistence and repetition. And that's what I intend to put to the test. Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Punkwist from Heavy and Bound, and this is finally Rapid Hit. In this series, I will attempt to test the power of improvement through repetition in some of my favorite multiplayer games. It could range from any series I feel like, and will span 50 matches. This will work in a very similar style to my BO4 Road to Commander videos, only instead of 3 parts, it's all going in one. Every match will be shown either through clips of my good plays, things I want to specifically point out that I did right or wrong, or just through the scoreboard and a small showcase of me getting shit on. Either way, you will see all 50 matches. And for the first episode, I thought it would be nice to start off in a place that we at High have been kind of neglecting recently. Call of Duty. Obviously kidding, we'll actually be starting in the competitive PvP playlist of Destiny 2. I could do normal PvP, but I think having the glory rank showing up after every match would be a really good indicator on how much I've actually improved. Anyways, this intro ended up being way longer than I thought it would, so I'm going to just jump into the first match. Future Punkwist will see you at the end for final thoughts, but for now, here's pre-recorded slightly in the future compared to now Punkwist. Also, just a note, this was recorded way in the past, almost a year ago at this point. So if you're noticing why the ranks haven't changed or why my light level is lower, I get to that later in the matches. But yeah, this is very old gameplay. Anyways, on to game 1. So for the first match, I hopped in Shive's backpack as he was going for Unbroken. And I'm assuming to balance out how OP he is, we got placed against a 3-stack. Overall, this game probably was the best way to start this experiment, mainly because it was like the purest form of Crucible. People running only shotguns, 3-stacks, etc. I did have a few good moments, however. I clutched around after Shive's weakened them. I saw a unicorn in the form of Rando actually saving around for us, and I hit a lot of body shots. Final KD for this match, 0.6. For game number 2, we got something you'll see a lot in the series, a sweep. I mean, usually it's just us getting swept, but luckily this one went our way. I didn't contribute much to this game, mainly because Shives and I random were just fucking feasting, but I did manage one passable snipe and a special house call from Dr. Dinkies to close it out. The final KD was 4.5, and just like that we're back in the blender for game 3, a super close match that just doesn't go our way. You'll notice a real trend during this whole series, where I have extremely bad / average games on Anomaly. I don't know why, but this map is just my fucking kryptonite. Another trend you'll probably notice is extremely poor super use. I don't know what it is, but I just fucking suck at knowing the right time to pop super, and where to actually throw it once I pop it. Final KD, 0.67. Game number 4 is up, and it's not very exciting because we pretty much just steamroll him. Shives makes it look like a pub, and I get to watch a Titan fail his shoulder charge, which is always a good time. Final KD, 3.0. Game number 5 was a short but fun one, sort of like the opposite of game 3 but still really close. It all starts with 2 spicy snipes in the second round, and then to balance it out of course, a miss on someone barely moving. Then I begin a trend of just mercilessly firing upon Titan walls and getting a kill out of it, which is also great because it's also cleaning up for my teammates. I also get one of my only movement dip moments of this project. After a quiet round of getting shit on, we go to overtime. Down 0-2 in lice and the enemy having full heavy, we tie it up 2v2, and then thanks to a snipe by Shives, 1v2. We finish it off with me holding the flag down and getting a final kill as well. These are the types of games that I love about ranked modes. No matter how broken or bad the game meta is, these close matches are always fun. Final KD 1.31. Also, now that we've hit the 5th match, I'm going to mention that every 5 games from now on, I'll be mentioning the win-loss, which is currently 3-2. Thankfully, Game 6 brought me back down to earth with us getting completely dumpstered. I switched my loadout back to old reliable, but that won't help me. Pretty much nothing of note to show from this game. Final KD 1.0. This game was more of the same. The only round we won, I managed to pull off a snipe and win as the first single Guardian space launch. Final KD 1.17. We finally got a break with Game 8. A clean 4-0 sweep, but sadly nothing exciting or insightful came from this game. I was pretty much just running around like the kill cameraman from AW. Final KD 2.67. Oh hey look, it's another 4-0 sweep where I barely contributed. I honestly don't remember being a part of this many sweeps, but I guess when you wait a month or two, you tend to forget everything. Final KD 3.33. At the risk of this sounding like a major cope, I think a match like this was needed so early in this test. Long story short, we got reverse swept by a team, mainly due to super use and some admittedly annoyingly good air blast shots. This was bound to happen when playing a comp batch, but it didn't hurt any less, especially with me absolutely choking a 1v1 in round 6. So many things I did wrong in this situation, but one of the biggest ones I think was using my heavy here. I was way more comfortable with my pulse, or even my sniper at that point, but I didn't even think to pull it out just because I had heavy ammo. Huge misplay on my part that frankly cost the match. Final KD 0.46, and the current win-loss is 5-5. For game number 11, we hit the hard regain in the form of just going to bed, and even though we came back to a 3-stack, we still ended up pulling a dub out of it somehow. And if you think a match with a setup like that would be extremely interesting, you would be incredibly wrong. I am mostly garbage, so I just end up spectating my teammates the entire game with a final KD of 0.67. So I start off game number 12 with a weird little 2-piece, and I honestly can't tell if I'm lagging or they are. And in the end, we put up a valiant fight, but once we lost our third, it was pretty much chalked. Final KD 1.11. You know, looking back at these games, I never really realized how many one-sided matches there were. And speaking of that, here's another. Even though we faced yet another team of 3, I managed to successfully watch my teammates just demolish this 3-stack while I get one snipe in the background. Final KD 5.0. Thanks a lot, EKIA. Alright, this next match is a real heartbreaker. It's the type of game that you secretly hope for as a player. You know the ones they create documentaries around. Unfortunately for us though, this one ended up less like a 7 and more like a crossroads. Down 0-3 against a team full of BMers, we managed to pull back one round at a time, but by the time we made it to the final round, we just couldn't pull off the reverse sweep. Honestly, I think it's my bad. I played way too passively and really kind of just allowed them full freedom around the map, whatever they wanted. And that, along with some super clutch super uses, ended up sealing the deal for us, and our hopes and dreams burned away. Final KD 1.08. Onward to Anomaly for the regain. I switched to Jurassic Green as a sort of middle ground between pulses, since they're absolutely my clutch weapon type, and Anomaly is a very anti-Punquist map. Luckily though, I didn't need to do anything, because Shives was on a full-on revenge tour. To balance that out, however, I did pull off one of my worst super uses, I think, of all time, so at least that kind of contributed. Final KD 5.0. Current win-loss 8-7. So for game number 16 we get Burnout, and even though I pull off a pretty nice 2-piece at the start of the game, our teammate decides to just, leave for no reason. So we end up getting demolished the rest of the game. If anyone who regularly leaves matches is watching this, please rethink how you play competitive games, like genuinely. It doesn't just ruin the game for your teammates, but your enemies as well. Final KD 0.89. And lucky for us, we get to experience a second match where teammates leave. This guy decided to stay for 3 out of 4 rounds before leaving. Can't completely blame him, since we were just getting absolutely destroyed, and it did stay longer than I thought, but still, extremely toxic. Final KD 0.38. We start off game 18 with a literal buzzer beater snipe that didn't end up mattering in the end. But besides that, the rest of the map was me just putting my feet up and letting my teammates slay. Honestly, looking back at this, that is a worrying trend for the rest of the series. If I had to blame this on anything, it'd be my complete lack of confidence in taking gunfights in Destiny. Final KD 2.25. This was a really notable game because it made me realize how oblivious I am when playing. Take this second round for example. I push the outer side of Wormhaven, and first I take a close angle looking towards mid, which first of all is dumb in itself, but I also don't even look to the right of me by their spawn, which is a pretty common sniping spot. This negligence causes me to get shot and have to scramble for my life, which thankfully I have teammates to help, but that should just never happen. Anyways, the rest of this match was a blowout. I did get a nice W key 2-piece in round 3, and a Desperado double to end the final round, but besides that, nothing special. Final KD 3.0. So at this point, we were on a 2-game win streak, and the game knew our egos were getting a little too big for that. So Bungie stepped in, and we got placed against a 3-stack. I do have a surprisingly dominant round, all things considered, even outgunning a Hankin at close range, and just Sparta-ing someone off the ledge, but on the other hand, I do miss one of the easiest body shots of my career, so I guess it all balances out. We managed to pull off a round win, but couldn't really do anything after that, and lost. Final KD 1.12, current win-loss 10-10. Bit of a time warp going into game 21. I have changed as a person and have fully accepted the BXR as my lord and savior. I also switched to using a shotgun pretty much full time because sniping just obviously wasn't working out. But this map is actually a really good return to comp. I S-key the shit out of the shotgunner and show the power of hip firing. Final KD 2.67. For game 22, we meet up with some people who are just genuinely better. Nothing you can do about that besides just take your lumps and try not to tilt. I mean, when you can't even aim correctly against a team, that's how you know you're pretty much outmatched. Final KD 0.5. Hey, but it's time for a rebound game, right? Oh, no, it's just another 0-4 sweep. I mean, it's slightly better compared to the last game. I did manage to get a couple kills, but none of that meant anything if you look at the score. And there was no final KD for this one since I was in my menus, so I'm going to go ahead and project my KD as like a 0.75. This next match was a roller coaster of a game. I started out like the last two, with us being down a couple rounds, but then our team just decided to turn up for no reason. We get stuck in spawn after being wiped out by a golden gun and still managed to brute force our way out. And then we twinanigans our way out of a second golden gun. Even though the enemy's teammate left, I don't think they were coming back when my teammates were just popping off so much, so I'll take it. Final KD 1.56. Alright, game 25, you know what that means. We've reached the halfway point of this test, and boy do I have a banger of a milestone match. Sorry I said that. Prepare your eyes for the world's first flawless backcrack ride. We start out the game in a 3v2. Unbalanced, yes. Unfair, absolutely. But after games 22 and 23, I could honestly care less. Shive started off with a snipe 2-piece that I could have sworn was supposed to be in a multi-kill clip episode, but never was. Seriously, it was nasty. And 2 rounds in, I finally get my first kill. And bit of a side note here, honestly, but EKIA is like the key for anyone with low self-esteem in video games. But anyways, to end that match, I use a super in a totally non-embarrassing way for once, and emerge undefeated. I don't care what you say, it counts to me. Final KD 9.0, current win-loss 13-12. To bounce out that last match, this next match was fucking infuriating. I actually rewatched this match months later to do the commentary, which I'm doing right now, and I re-tilted myself all over again. Instead of talking about anything in this match, I'm just going to show you all the shotgun kills / deaths for this game. I didn't check the final KD after that match, because I'm pretty sure I left to go walk around my house for a little bit to blow off steam, but I'm going to say my projected KD was 0.55. Game 27 seemed to be hitting the same notes as a lot of our other matches. Couple good plays, I mean if you count globetrotting around an enemy, good, but we still end up down 1-3. But for once, that's actually not where the match ends. We, and by we I mean obviously my teammates, turn the fuck up and bring it back to 3-3. And in the final round, I channel my inner accuracy and 1v3 for the reverse sweep win. I don't know if you can tell based on what I'm showing in the video right now, but I was extremely hyped after that win. Final KD 1.31. Unfortunately, that was the last good game for the next 6 matches. You may be saying, oh Punquist, how do you manage to go 0-6 as a 3-stack? Well, let's find out together, because I'm pretty sure I blocked all these games out of my memory. And after rewatching this game, I can definitely see why. Literally nothing of value was gained from this game. I was making brain dead pushes, I was missing easy shots, and I was running around like a headless chicken the second I got shot. Just a total mess. Projected final KD, because I keep leaving before the match ends, 0.05. This next game starts off so much better. I'm still playing like a certified Stadia player, but at least the enemies we were playing against were more on our level as well. I mean, camping spawn is a strategy only I could think of. After a dominant round thanks to Shives, we go up 3-1. And, oh wait a minute, I've seen this before. Yep, we get a taste of our own medicine and end up getting reverse swept. It wouldn't even be as bad if we got destroyed, but instead the last 20 seconds they just hung back and saved their lives. Extremely unfortunate. Final KD 1.73. Even though game 30 starts off with 2 nice kills that I stole from my teammates, we still go down 0-2 before stealing a round. Not that the stolen round matters anyways, because we lose the next 2 rounds and end up losing the entire game. Final KD 0.92. Current win-loss 14-16. For game 31 we get a great 3-stack versus 3-stack, and it starts out extremely familiarly. We do manage to steal a round, but it's really no thanks to me. In the end, I'm still making brain dead plays that are just costing the match. I had to have been drinking this night or something. Final KD 0.45. Not much I can say about this one either. Same problems, same outcomes. This does give me a good idea for the next time I do this. I should really do these VOD reviews before the next session so I actually learn something instead of seeing myself fuck up for 49 matches. Final KD 0.8. Final game of this session, and it ends in the only fitting way. A nice, clean, efficient 0-4 against an AC-130 lock. Final KD 0.5. Alright, as I'm loading in, you're probably noticing a lot of changes between game number 33 and game number 34. And that's because I'm an idiot. I'm not going to say when I started this whole project, but it was well before Witch Queen. And now with it being well past Witch Queen, you could probably see a big problem here. Aren't I fucking up the result of this test because of the long time skip? Originally, I thought I was, and almost restarted this whole thing, until I realized something. In that span of time that I don't want to mention, I didn't stop playing Destiny Crucible. I mean, I still made Crucibles, I still played Trials, I even kept my mouse and keyboard aim warm by playing games like Apex. So because of all that, I believed I could still go forward with this test. And if it screws the result in a noticeable way, I'll just do another one. Anyways, on to game number 34. Funnily enough, even after redacted months, our matches still end up going the same way. A sweet 0-4 to remind me that I'm trash and always will be. Final KD 0.56. Thankfully, our Bungie State enforced easy W came in the form of game 35. It starts off with me Mr. Magooing my way through a whole bunch of grenades and gunfire. I also get a couple nice kills, including a snipe. But other than those notable moments, we pretty much stomped this 3-stack. Besides the team-wise dominance of this final round, we were also just fucking around and cracking jokes the whole time, so maybe that's the secret I should have taken from this whole experience. Because everyone knows, the real rapid hit is the friends you made along the way. Final KD 6.0. Current win-loss 15-20. First time on the new map this video, and while I don't necessarily hate it, I don't think it plays amazing in elimination, mainly because of how large of a map it is. It makes 3v3 pretty one-sided once one team wins the opening fights. Other than that though, nothing exciting about this map. I did win a gunfight I had no right to, but other than that, it was just another loss to the pile. Final KD 1.8. This map started off pretty hot with me sniping, getting a delayed 2-piece, and another 3-piece the very next round. You would think us being up 3 rounds would mean the match is pretty much over, but we just love to keep ourselves on guard. So of course it goes to overtime rounds. Honestly though, my super usage didn't help. Luckily in the final round, we finally relearned how to play the game. In reality, they just ran out of supers, and we clutch up and won the match. And you should be watching Shive's teabag right now. That's because both of us were treating this like the final rounds of champs. We were both extremely heated, we almost got reverse swept by supers and gimmicky weapons, and that really lit a fire in us to win. Final KD 0.85. We then got the best case scenario for this next game. The dreaded, unintentional salty run back. That's right, the same team of 3 versus us. Besides the new random, obviously. We were ready to duke it out once again, but that's not exactly how it went. It pretty much ended up being a murder, with Shives and our random being the main culprits. I got a few kills, sure, but I was basically a full-on kill cameraman for the next 4 rounds of decimation and destruction. I am fully convinced these last 2 games caused a full clan breakup and possibly a Destiny uninstallation. And honestly, I've never been happier playing PvP. Final KD 3.0. Match 39 starts off strong, but I relearned in 0-4 fashion that I am not, in fact, triple wreck. We did have a little duel moment in the 4th round, but that didn't really help us, as in the end we both got pretty much smashed shortly after. Our teammate also left during a round while we were getting shit on, but honestly, like I said, I can't really blame them. It was a demolition. Final KD 0.8. The hits just keep on gumming for game number 40. Not much I can show besides me dying again and again and again and again. Final KD 0.5. Current win-loss 17-23. Alright, so if you've been keeping track of the match numbers or adding the win-loss together, you know that these are the last 10 matches of this test. Since we're in the home stretch, I decided to solo queue for my last matches. Why, you ask? Well, I wanted to know how much I really had improved, and there's no better way to figure out than just putting all the power to clutch or choke in your own hands. So a little director's note here, I planned from the beginning to do my last 10 matches solo, but I won't lie, regret was setting in at mock speeds when I first started the solo match. The rest of the game also goes as expected. Final KD 0.5. Game 42 starts off pretty well. A nice little 2v1 as I'm 8-bait lead us to a 2-0 lead. I get put in a 1v1 situation thanks to a super, but protract a bad case of Titan arms and give them the tying round. Luckily though, we pulled off 2 pretty dominant rounds right after to win the game. Final KD 2.33. Game 43 was a free dub because 2 out of 3 enemies left, so we just fucked around with the last enemy for 4 rounds. Final KD 4.0. I got to experience a pretty average Destiny PvP experience for this next game. 4 runners running rampant, D2 vanilla melee damage, you know, the usuals. I did, however, get a nice little wrecking ball to secure our first round. But sadly, that didn't save us from getting shit stomped the other 4 rounds, including one of my worst supers in this series. And another bullshit knife situation that costed us a round. One thing I learned after this whole experiment, always sharpen your knives before going into the Crucible. Final KD 1.23. Even though I get a nice little 2-piece, this entire match can pretty much be summed up by one sentence. I suck at sniping and never learn my lesson. And just as we were about to pull something together, we get fun policed. If you do this in comp / trial / any PvP in general, I just want you to know that I genuinely think less of you as a person. Final KD 1.0, current win-loss 19-26. Game 46 was also a pretty average Destiny game. I'm losing super easy gunfights to kids with Naruto names. I'm making terrible plays, just the average Destiny experience for me at this point, but also pretty usual for a lot of experiences with these matches. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, my team just decides to turn up. I ego chow the shit out of the heavy Titan. I shut down that same Titan with the super stuff, and just continued to bowl my way through this team with my randos. This was probably the best match in the series, not just because I felt like I was hitting more shots than usual, but also I wasn't playing dumb. I wasn't rushing into every gunfight like it was caught. I was actually thinking and playing slow and playing with my teammates. It was amazing. Final KD 3.5. In typical Punkwest fashion, however, I go from a pretty good game to an extremely mid one. There's a couple of alright kills, but it's mostly just my team carrying me as far as they can before the enemies destroy us. Final KD 1.33. For game 48, we face, I believe, the first glaive in the history of this series, and due to a massive fat finger dodge roll and some pretty annoying Zuma flanks, they go up 2-0 on us. We figure out their system and begin a comeback, however, tying up the game in the very next 2 rounds. Once we get the ball rolling as a team, it was basically over for Glavy Jones. We dominated them on the last 2 rounds, including a pretty nice double snipe that I'm particularly proud of to finish this match off. Final KD 1.88. So we've made it to game number 49, the penultimate match. I get matched up with some pretty familiar names, and we end up smashing the competition in the first round. I almost clutch up the second round, but some gimmicky weapons and team shotting ties up the game. Like honestly, I have no idea why I didn't just back up, but hey, whatever, I never learn. I remember being really excited for the rest of this match because these teams honestly seemed pretty well balanced compared to each other, but either an error code or a rage quit quickly dashes that idea. And once it became 3v2, it was all over. Final KD 4.25. Alright, game number 50 time. Time to take all the things I've learned, all the skills I perfected. Oh, never mind, we'll just get 4-1'd by Lord of Wolf spamming Guardians. I'd be more mad if A, the Hunter wasn't similarly named to my old game attack from 2009, and B, it was the last match. Besides, the one thing about Destiny 2 PvP is that there will always be cheese. You either gotta learn to be better than it or accept it. Final KD 1.3, series win-loss 22-28. So now that I'm done, what did I learn? Well, for one, I learned that Destiny 2 PvP will never be balanced. Because honestly, I don't think it's possible to balance this many moving parts, especially since new OP things are added season to season. I think there are things Bungie could do to make that a little bit better and a little bit more manageable. For one, you know, more substantial patches per season and more maps and modes to at least keep the main quick play playlist more fun and interesting. Also, holy fuck, get rid of Mosh playlists. No one likes Mosh playlists. But other than that, I honestly think people need to stop looking at Destiny 2 PvP like comp and treat it more like a competitive party game. Not saying don't sweat, not saying don't try hard, but when you're getting killed from half a mile away through a DMT, you just gotta either use a DMT to counter it, play better, I guess, or just accept it. That's what I've learned over these past couple months, and it has helped my mental slightly more than average. I still get pissed off all the time, but you know, slightly better. For my personal experience over these last 50 games, I think I did improve, definitely with my shot, but I can't credit that all to this test. Like I mentioned before, over the span of this, honestly, unnecessarily long project, I was obsessed with Apex, which definitely helped improve my aim and my decision making a lot more. I don't think it transferred over to Destiny 2 flawlessly, but I think I made a couple more decisions that I wouldn't have made if I wasn't literally elbow deep in Apex every single night for the entire summer. So I think it did help, and I think I definitely improved over the span of these games, but I think the long wait messed with the fixes specifically for Destiny gameplay. But yeah, that was Rapid Hit. I honestly want to do more of these. I really like the idea of just playing 50 matches of a game I like and just really kind of grinding it. Maybe I'll move it to 100 eventually, but you saw how long it took to do this one, and it was only 50 matches, so who knows. But yeah, so anyways, I gave Destiny 2 PvP a 0 out of 10. I don't know, I don't rate these things or anything. I guess I could rate my gameplay. I rate my gameplay a solid 5 out of 10. But anyways, this is Mr. Punkwest from Heavy Moon Bound, signing out. I'll see you guys next time.